fist, fears rising up in my chest, and night never brings me no rest. Oh, my throat's too sore to scream. Can't nobody wake me up from this dream. If the floodwaters don't recede, well, I swear they're gonna bury me. In over my head, in over my head. Been locked up, knocked down, pushed around, scared as hell. I might be till I'm dead. In over my head, in over my head. I can't breathe, can't see how I'm never gonna leave with this head that I'm living in. In over my head, in over my head.
Stealth Cam presents Dean Partridge's Canadian Whitetail, brought to you by Ozonics, undetectable, undeniable. Excalibur crossbow, the most durable and accurate crossbows on Earth. The Heater bodysuit, the ultimate cold weather hunting garment. Nocturnal lighted Nox, switch on accuracy and let it glow. The Raculator, score your trophy fast, easy, and accurate. Glendale, the biggest and toughest 3D targets in the universe. Muddy, serious gear for serious hunters. New archery products, hunt with confidence. Hoyman, your land, your legacy. Tacticam, share your hunt. Old Timer Knives, built for generations. And by Stealth Cam, proven reliability, proven quality, proven performance.
Every father to a little girl knows just how precious that relationship is, unconditional love. The second that little girl comes into your life, everything changes. Sure, we make mistakes along the way, but our hearts always lie in the hands of those little girls. Never has that been so apparent to me as it has been watching my friend Jason and his daughter Baylie, watching them hunt and grow together over the last decade.
There's your first bear hunt, Baylie. Huh? Right there, do some of that.
We don't have a bear yet.
No, well, we got one now.
Really got one.
All right, on. Good job, little girl.
Never far from Jason was Baylie, that summer blonde hair, an attitude larger than life, and a love for the outdoors. We all waited patiently for the day that she was in the shooter's seat. And when that day came, well, let me tell you, she made her mark.
Sweetheart, you shot your first deer with your bow. Dean and I shot our first deer together here. Actually, the old tree stands right here. You could still see it right there. And we shot a 167-inch deer here. And that's where everything kind of kicked off. And now Baylie was just a little wee girl then. And to finally sit with my daughter.
With me behind the bow?
Yeah, with you behind the bow, B. It's pretty cool. Yeah, a little choked up, but I think we better phone Dean.
Big buck down.
Jason's pride was unmeasurable, and for me it was only the start of a string of big buck down calls, and I loved every one of them.
That is a beautiful buck, B. Oh my gosh.
Big buck down.
Jason and Baylie became best hunting friends, and Bailey's accomplishments would rival most grown men with a lifetime in the woods.
Oh, it's a lot of fun to sit with these kids and...
Thank you, Daddy. I'm shaking so bad.
Awesome. Oh, B. Way to hold it together.
Oh my goodness.
And through the years, we were even able to be involved in a couple of young Bailey's hunts.
And we thought there might be a little girl who might think that's a pretty gnarly buck.
Your knee was shaking because you were cold, or?
Probably the adrenaline going.
So probably.
No one was ready, the least of which could have been Baylie, when the worst came true. When just days after her 15th birthday, her father Jason was killed in a plane accident, tearing him from her life.
Nothing could describe the pain, and not just from losing Jason, but from standing back and watching young Cole and Baylie. Watching them trying to find out why, trying to understand, trying to make sense. All questions there was just no answers to, and it all seemed so unfair for them, and it was. Baylie was handling it all so strong, so courageously, showing us yet again what an incredible, mature young lady she's becoming. And just weeks later, it was the start of whitetail season, and I didn't know what Baylie was going to do. I didn't know if she was going to come to hunt deer. I didn't know if Baylie was ever going to want to hunt again. But Baylie knew.
In over my head, in over my head. I've been locked up, knocked down, pushed around, scared as hell. I might be until I'm dead. In over my head, in over my head. I can't breathe, can't see how I'm ever gonna leave this hell that I'm living in over my head.
This segment of Canadian Whitetail has been brought to you by Bog. More than just a shooting rest. Bog, engineered for the unknown. This segment brought to you by AAE. Innovation and integrity is in our blood. Quality and dependability is in our products.
In August, Stevie and I got the flat stand ready. It was the last tree stand that Jason had had a deer from, just the year prior when Baylie had shot her biggest buck yet. We didn't know if anybody would hunt it, but it felt right to get it ready. We were glad we did, as when the first day to hunt came, Baylie said that's where we were going, and there were several good bucks on the stealth cam. Baylie climbed up the ladder one rung at a time, just like she was being forced to live her life right now one breath at a time, knowing that things were, somehow, some way, going to move forward. In and settled, I showed Baylie some of the trail camera photos, and there was a certain peace to the evening that I only hoped Baylie could find. And what a night we were about to have. It didn't take long for the first buck to arrive, a heavy beam mature 10. I thought this might be the shortest hunt ever. He was followed by another good-looking 5x5, and when I looked at Baylie, she hadn't even lifted her bow. As the night progressed, a parade of bucks passed by, none getting Bailey's attention. Watching Baylie just enjoy the night, a night unlike I've maybe ever had in the deer stand, made me realize that maybe shooting a deer wasn't the reason Baylie was here in this stand. Day 2 found us in the same spot that Baylie had shot her first ever whitetail from.
It's Bailey's day 2. We're gonna be quiet because the deer usually move in here pretty early. But the first day we sat, we seen all the bucks at that spot, including the 2 that we thought were gonna be nice ones, and they just turned out to not be as good as we thought. So it's okay. Nobody faults anyone for being picky.
Movement was slow and it seemed like a fitting day as Baylie was catching up on naps, maybe finding enough peace in the deer woods to finally relax. Just that last light brought our only encounter with a good buck, though he never came close enough to get a good look. With another shift in the weather, we were headed to another new spot, this time to one of our plots where Jason had taken one of his biggest whitetails ever, and we had reworked the entire plot earlier this year.
We're a little spoiled this year because Ag World equipment out of Kinistino dropped off just this morning our new 4710 Massey from Agco Agriculture, and this is going to make a lot of our work a lot easier. We're gonna get in, we're gonna get the rest of this disc so we can get it all smoothed out. Then we're gonna pack it a little bit, firm it down, and get it ready to seed into alfalfa.
After seeding and once the alfalfa was up, we were getting several photos of a nice 4x4 with 2 large bulges on his beams, a gorgeous deer that we'd showed Baylie, and she had said she'd wanted to get a closer look at.
Are you all rested up tonight, Baylie? Yeah. Third day, we came down to the north plot. We put alfalfa in this year.
In and settled tonight, we were greeted with this young 4x4, though not the one with the bulges in his beams, and Baylie elected to pass and just enjoyed watching the deer for the evening.
This segment of Canadian Whitetail has been brought to you by Glendale, the only 3D target with a replaceable 4-sided core. Glendale, the biggest and toughest 3D targets in the universe. Canadian Whitetail has also been brought to you by Central Boiler Outdoor Furnaces, the ultimate wood heat, Black Eagle Arrows, superior carbon technology, Thermoseed, stay outdoors, Tinks, makers of the world's finest deer lures and scents, Elite Archery, the world's most shootable bow. This segment of Canadian Whitetail is brought to you by Nocturnal Lighted Nocks. Nocturnal Lighted Nocks, string activated, simple, switch on accuracy, and let it glow.
Day 4, and our 4th new spot. Hopefully there's a whole bunch of big thunder. I hope that's not a sign of things to come, but from our scouting, we usually figure out if we can get a 4-day stretch, we can kill that deer. And so far we've had a record 1-day stretch. So.
With the ever-shifting weather, it meant that our stands were changing just as often, and we were surprised as the thunderstorm set in and this doe looked back to see this nice wide 5x4 step out. A gorgeous deer, but not the deer that Baylie was looking for, and again she passed. As the storm settled in, the deer headed for cover, making this fellow the highlight for our evening. Day 8, we were back at the plot with a much slower evening, producing just this lopsided 8, until just at last light, when this big frame buck appeared. I thought this may be the one, but Baylie nodded no. She was going to wait for the buck with the bulged beams and let this deer pass.
What day is it? It's Wednesday. I know it's Wednesday. Oh, we're in another new stand. We're gonna be running out of stands.
As the days and blinds passed, we had seen some great bucks, and I'd started to wonder if Bailey's goal was shooting a deer at all, or just being in the field in the quiet with her thoughts. But regardless, I was just fine with either.
Welcome to this week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment. Locate, learn, set up, hunt. Brought to you by Muddy Outdoors.
Here's a pretty interesting tip that's pretty simple, and that's that big bucks love big buck spots. What I mean by that, it's usually not by chance when you head into an area and you find that there's multiple good mature deer there, or that there's a king in that area. And the reason that he's there is because that area is providing him with all the needs that he has. And when you're hunting with a buddy and you go into an area, you get lucky and you take that king buck out of that quarter section or that area that you're hunting. What often happens is you and your buddy, you'll move on till next year. You'll come back next year to have a look for it. But you won't want to pack up just yet. You're going to want to keep your eye on that property, because what often happens, even within weeks, is when you take that lead or that dominant buck out of an area, if that's the prime bit of ground in that area, quite often another buck will move in. Not every spot in any given area is the best spot. So if you take that area, the deer are going to have a kind of a ranking system on where's the most desirable place to live. If you're hunting in that spot, you take a big mature deer out, a deer from another area that's less desirable is probably going to move in there. And he might be a big old mature buck. And there might be season left and your buddy might still have a tag. So when you take a big deer or an old deer off a property, stay tuned and watch to see what might move in, see how things might change. It might be nothing, but you might find a big surprise. And that's your Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment for the week.
This week's Canadian Whitetail Scouting segment has been brought to you by Muddy Outdoors. Share your own muddy moment. This segment has been brought to you by the Heater Bodysuit. The Heater Bodysuit is the ultimate cold weather hunting garment that allows you to stay on stand longer and sit comfortably. The Heater Bodysuit. You stay warm or your money back.
Ready? She's ready.
Day 11 felt different. Baylie seemed different, and something told me today to be ready. The deer began moving early, and when this buck looked clear to the back fence, we both seen him. It was the bulged beam 8 point from the stealth cam photos. Still 150 yards away, but headed our direction fast, though I noticed Baylie still just watching, not even reaching for her bow. The buck closer still, I looked over and seen what I'd been waiting for. All Baylie needed now was a clear shot.
Walked in behind, but you waited till he was clear. The shot was a little far back, but I'm sure it's liver, and then he went down right on the edge of the plot there. Good for you, baby.
Well, Baylie shot her deer last night, and he bedded down by the fence here, right until dark, eh? We thought he was down. After we talked, we looked, he had his head up. He put his head down, he put his head up, he put his head down. We looked at the shot again and realized how far back it was, so we just left him overnight. Our track job was pretty anticlimactic because he made it through the fence apparently at some point, but he's only about 10 feet on their side, so.
Bulge there.
He's got a matching one on the other side. I don't know if he hit a fence in velvet or something.
Huh.
Sure, a pretty face on him too, hey?
Oh yeah.
You definitely put your time in this year, hey?
Yeah.
You've seen a lot of deer. You've seen a couple deer that would, well, they're probably as big as him.
Yeah.
That old guy, maybe a little bit bigger, but not as wide. But he came in last night and Baylie said she was shooting, so.
We got her done.
Well, that's pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy for you, Baylie.
Thank you for taking me out.
Well,
Spent lots of nights with me.
It was sure a lot of fun. We got to sit a few different stands and see a lot of, you got to see so many deer. There's not like we weren't seeing deer, but just waiting.
How fortunate was I to be able to spend so much time this fall with Baylie and witness again firsthand the truth that I already knew in all the times that Jason would tell me how special, mature, responsible, and incredible she is. How proud of Baylie Jason must be and how desperate he would be to fill the hole left in her heart when he passed. This hunt brought as much healing for me, or maybe more, than for Baylie, as her and Jason are one and the same, and it brought back so many memories of hunting with my friend.
Would have said goodbye If I knew I was going, would have hugged you twice.
Did you have a good time?
But
Listen,
no
Daddy had a
one
great
saw
time
it
with you.
coming. Now I hear you telling God that it's not fair.
You shot your first deer with your bow. To finally sit with my daughter.
But nothing
A little choked up, but
with you. I'm just not close enough.
Oh, it's a lot of fun to sit with these kids, and congrats, Pete.
Thank you, Daddy.
It's rolling down your face.
that is a beautiful buck.
I'm shaking so bad.
Awesome. Oh, D. Way to hold it together.
Oh my goodness.
I'm okay.
Right on. Good job, little girl.
This segment has been brought to you by Wild Edge and the ultimate climbing system, the Step Ladder. Safely design your climb in any tree, anywhere, with the most versatile, lightweight, and compact climbing system, the Step Ladder. Canadian Whitetail has also been brought to you by these fine sponsors: